Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Mac.
And I'm Zach.
And today we are going through our alphabet soup still, and we are on the letter R.
Yes, so we're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch of the RST, which kind of is the last group of kind of big games.
Yeah.
But we got through R. It's one of our more populated letters.
It is.
I found out. But not, I don't think any of the games were too overly long.
No.
There's a couple coming up, like Too Many Bones and Sleeping Gods for TNS that are going to be pretty long, but I don't think we had too many of those here.
Really like medium weight games and lower. There's only one I think that's a little bit bigger, but...
Yes. Oh, yes. But yeah, so we just finished them up last night, and now we're going to talk about which ones we're going to keep and call. I don't know if we're going to call any. We'll see. We'll probably at the end of the year go over which one additional ones we're going to call. We've already had a couple more that I've decided we're going back and calling. But if you want to check out what we've kind of gone through so far, you can go back and check out the rest of our alphabet, A through Q. So... yeah, check those out. But otherwise, we can get right into it.
Yeah.
And the first one we don't actually have here, but we did play it earlier this year, and that is Return to Dark Tower.
Yeah.
And I believe Jesse said that may be his favorite R. Otherwise, it might be a different one that we'll mention a little bit later.
Yeah.
But that one we played, and it's kind of I don't even know what you'd call it. It's kind of got a story mode to it. And just kind of, there's an app in this huge dark tower that kind of just does things throughout the game based on kind of how you're doing and stuff. I don't really know how
it's controlled by an app,
and right.
It like releases skulls, and it might block you from certain actions if you get the rotated piece in your section of the board, and so
yeah. So it's an interesting one. I think out of the group, I probably liked that one the least of us. Didn't really do too much for me, but I could see how that would be a fun game, and it is cool how the app is able to do all of that and kind of tell how you're doing, and kind of it seemed like it would kind of hit you where it hurt sometimes, and then
But that was a restoration game, right? Right, so it's like a remake of an old one. So.
Right, yeah. I guess I don't know much about the original and if it was, or how that one worked in comparison. But I think this one, I'm sure if you liked the other one, like I said, I've never played it. I'm sure if you liked the other one, this one probably seems really, really cool. But it's it's a big game. Yeah,
it's big. It's kind of like a pared down D&D a little bit. You know, you kind of get a character, you know, everything's predetermined, but you're on kind of an adventure, and it's the app kind of works as like your DM, but it has like, you know, some preconceived algorithms in there and stuff, so it's a really unique game. If you get the chance to play it, I'd probably say, you know, try it out. It's like a $200 board game, so might as well give it a try. But
right, 100%. Yeah, so I don't think we'll be able to call that one just because Jesse really likes it, and he has it in his possession. So we will not be calling that one.
He snuck it off.
Right.
Keep it safe.
Then we'll get into another one we won't be calling because it's not actually ours.
It's not ours.
This one is Abby's.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of which. She's played a few of these R games, but this was one of the few that she played with us. Played it as a 4-player game, actually. And I think it was the second time I've actually played Raccoon Tycoon.
Yeah, it's my second time, too.
If not third. I can't remember if we played it twice before, maybe.
You might have played it one time without me.
But, so this one's an interesting kind of market / auction game. And we don't really have too many of those. Got like Clans of Caledonia, which I like quite a bit. But that kind of, there is kind of a market board, but I don't, I mean, that's not nearly as involved as this. That's the main part of this game, whereas that one you're kind of going out and controlling stuff. So it's kind of our main one that really focuses in on that market board where you're selling goods and producing them. I do like the fact that you're never really buying the goods, because then I think it would get too complicated.
It is really interesting that it's just like, here, you just get whatever's on the card, and you know,
some production, bump up some of the prices.
Yeah.
I do think that's a pretty clean feel to it. I couldn't tell if it seemed like it was a bit long for me, maybe, for what it is.
It was hard because I was like, I just feel like something's missing. Like, I'm not... You only get one move per turn, which I think makes sense for it. But yeah, I was like looking at the end game conditions, and I was like, this is never going to end. Like, we're not even getting close on some of these. So, yeah, I was like, whew, it was a little long for me.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I think it's still a solid game to check out, especially if you do like market type things, and it's got auctions, like I said, as well, which is
really cute
is a fun
woodland
little thing.
creatures.
Yeah, definitely the cute little look to them, kind of the tycoon.
I really feel like it's not really even a heavy game, so...
Right, yeah. I wouldn't say, for it being a market game, it doesn't feel like insanely difficult to play.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple one. I think that is probably because of the fact that you aren't also buying.
Yeah.
It's just selling. So the only way the market goes up is with when you play your production card, and then it just goes down when you sell. So I think that keeps it simple enough.
I think it's rigged that money doesn't count for anything at the end unless you get a building that lets you do it. But
Well, it's that, or if you get enough money, you just win the game without having to
that's true.
have the other end game
I
trigger.
think one of us got very close to 1,000.
Yeah, we weren't even close.
Exactly.
Oh boy, now we're picking this one up already.
Oh boy.
This one is Red Rising.
Red
It
Rising.
seemed like it's... For some reason, the side of the box made me think I had it upside down or sideways or something, but I did not.
Nope. I
But,
don't.
yeah, Red Rising.
This is an amazing game. Spoiler alert, it might be one of my favorite games. If you've watched our top 50 videos from earlier this year. Red Rising is a card hand management game, set collection kind of, with a couple
Probably
other...
more hand management.
Yeah. But it's amazing, and I think we have some videos in Stone Timber from our September vids that kind of goes into it more. But I love this game. I really love this game. So I would recommend checking those out, and I'd highly recommend Red Rising.
Yeah, and I would give it kind of multiple plays, possibly, if it seems interesting to you at least. I don't think you obviously need to give it multiple plays if you play it once and you really, really hate it. Yeah. But if you kind of like it after the first ones, I think as you get to know the cards more and all the powers, it becomes kind of better and better with that.
Yeah, that's key.
And the game. I like this one quite a bit too, not as much as you, but it's probably our most played R game this year.
Yeah, easily, because I ask for it like once a week. But I haven't asked to play it in like a month and a half, so you should applaud my restraint, because I've been like, I just want to play Red Rising, but I know he doesn't want to play it anymore.
It has been a little while, so maybe I'm ready for it again. But we have been kind of catching up on some of the other games as well.
That's true too. So yeah, love this game.
We will be keeping that one.
Yep.
So this is one that's new this year, and I was the only one that played it. We just got one play of it in, me and Jesse, recently, and it was one that it seemed like it would fit me because it was more of a Euro style game with a rondel mechanism, and then you're just kind of managing resources to basically complete contracts with building the cathedral, and it's just got a bunch of simple mechanisms that work really well. You're moving, so there's kind of 3 spots in each action area of the board to hold 3 different dice, and when you have a die on a spot, whatever the pip amount is on the die, it'll go that many spaces forward. And if you go into a space with dice previously, the action becomes stronger, but the most it can hold is just 3. So it just works so smoothly. It makes a bunch of sense. I mean, it's really a clean game, and I found it really interesting that even in our one play, it seemed like I was going to like win by a lot because I had seemed to do a lot more work on the cathedral, and that seemed like it was going to be a lot of points to me. So I thought, oh, won't even be close, because Jesse kind of was struggling to get some of that done. But by the end of the game, it was actually really close, because I think he was doing another, and now I forget exactly what the name of it, because there's kind of 2 tracks, which was an interesting thing, where one of it you win at points kind of slower. It's kind of like a Rajas, but not really, because the tracks are together. But then there's these other ones that start further apart. So when you're jumping on those ones, you're gaining a lot at the same time. But then by the end, they're point for point, kind of. So it's just an interesting way to gain points early on in the game, which is kind of what he did. Whereas I didn't do as much of that. So kind of, I won based on the end game, just barely, though, by the end. So.
But one I'm guessing we'll be keeping for a while?
That will be
at
one.
Least?
Yes. At least let you try it, because I think you'll like it. It's not a long game either, which is really nice. I think you'd probably play it in under an hour, maybe 30 minutes at 2 players if you got quick at it. Or, played it several times. You probably don't have to be good at it, but once you've played it a few times.
Oh boy.
Get the dust off that one.
It's like we never even played it this one.
I know, right?
We did. We played her.
We played Rapid Recall, which is more of a party game.
Yeah.
We have it in our collection. We've got a couple party-type games, not too many, but this is one that I just find to be interesting because it's almost like a taboo game where you're trying to get your team to guess a word, but you can't use certain words. Yeah. Whereas in this one, you can use whatever words you want to get your team to remember the word. And there's like a list of 10 words that you're trying to get them to remember in a very short amount of time. And it's just a really fun
You can't
game.
just yell it out. You got to remember it. After, maybe I've given you 7 clues and you've thrown a chip in for each one saying you know what I'm trying to get you to say. And then you got 30 seconds to repeat those back to you after I'm done with the clues. And it's like, good luck remembering. Remembering all these clues. You're like trying to like find an image in your head where you're like, okay, it was a bear in red with maybe like a hat, and then they wanted me to say like wife or something like that. So then you're like trying to remember a weird way to get these, and then you always forget like half of them, and you're like, I hope somebody else remembers them, and then the opposing side can try and grab them from you if you don't get them. So your family had this game, and I think we just saw this at a thrift store one time, and we picked up an extra copy. So kind of like a retro. It's probably an older game, but
it is an older game.
It's a good party game, I feel like.
I think so. I mean, it
can be a little daunting.
It can be a little daunting. It kind of probably depends how many people you have. If you can get at least 3 people on a team, if not 4, I think that probably is where it would work best, just because it doesn't put too much pressure on any one person trying to remember a bunch, because I think that is a big thing in the game, is being able to remember those things. So if you don't have great memory, or someone doesn't have great memory, this one might not be the best one, just because it's also timed. So there's going to be people that this just doesn't work for. And
I think I realized later on, it was like we really needed to be like, okay, you take one, you take one, you take one, like, and like you just focus on remembering these. But like sometimes
it's tough though.
You'd all recognize one, and then like you'd get there and you'd be like, none of us remember it.
You can't really. The tough part about doing that is you don't know what the future ones are going to be, so you don't know who to assign what to.
I know.
So it kind of it throws it off. But that would be the ideal way to do it. I would agree. I would agree, Mackie.
All right.
And we'll probably keep that one just because I think that's one of the few party games I like to bring out every now and then. Not that I'm going to bring it out that often, but it's good.
We got to switch it up every now and again. We can't just play just one every time.
Even though that is a very solid one.
It is, and a popular one in our group. So.
But then we get to Rajas of the Ganges.
Ayo.
And we've had this one for a little while.
Quite a while.
And it's been in our top 50 games in the past, at least mine.
Yeah.
I
just
played
recently learned
last year.
like within the last year and a half or 2 years now. So, relatively new to me. I think it was on the shelf like 3 years before I ever tried it. So, sorry.
It's a solid game. And it's a worker placement game where you use your workers to trigger certain actions, but then you've also got a main resource of dice that usually will help you actually use those actions. Some require certain colored dice, some require certain valued dice, and then you're also building out a little route on your player board, and to buy those tiles you're using usually like 6 to, I don't know if it's 10, 12 pips worth of a certain color of a die. It just it's a really solid game. This one, like I had kind of mentioned in the Red Cathedral, where it had a weird scoring track. Raja's tracks go in opposite directions, and you're trying to get those two things to meet. One of them being money, and one being fame. And the fame throughout the whole track goes at twice. Is it twice the pace?
Yep.
Or 3 times?
No, I think it's twice.
Twice the pace of the coins. And your coin one, I think your fame always goes up. Your coin one, you can spend coins, so you're going kind of back and forth.
Down.
But yeah, I just find it really fun, and I think that cool scoring track works really perfectly in this game.
Yeah. The same type of scoring as Arc Nova. So do you think Arc Nova ripped off Raja's, or is that just a standard?
I think they probably might have borrowed it from them, but haven't played Arc Nova as much, and maybe if I played it some more, maybe I would enjoy that piece more. But I think Raja's does it better.
It does. It does it really well. So, yeah, it's a great game. I think I haven't been so lucky in playing it recently, so it's been like crushing my soul a little bit. But it's a great, solid game.
Yeah, and I think that's the other one that I would think Jesse would maybe rank as his number 1 R game if it wasn't Return to Dark Tower.
I thought he really liked Red Rising, though, so that's surprising.
He likes Red Rising.
Yeah.
Just not his top R one, maybe. Maybe it would be.
Interesting. We're going back to Russia again.
Yes, and with a brand new game that delivered as we were doing the R's, so you almost got to avoid it, Maggie. If it had just come a little later. But I knew it was coming, and I was like, oh, it's got to get here, it's got to get here.
I didn't want to avoid it.
No, okay. But yeah, this is one that is by the designer of Endless Winter and Lockup and Rurik, which may or may not be later on here. And it was the first game by his company, and it is a big building game with some worker placement aspect to it. And it just sounded, I really like Orleans, and I really like Claxic-Quedlinburg, so the big building aspect kind of spoke to me. And I always like worker placement, and then there were some track pieces as well. So, and I really love the artwork of this one. I think that's what really pulled me in, especially after, I don't know if it had been about the same time or whatever. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Nidavellir with a little bit of black and white, and I really love that cover. And I love the artwork in that game. Not quite, but because it's got tints of color in there that.
Trying to remember, we played so many games. Like all I'm seeing is the neon pieces, but there was cards and stuff, right? Too. There were cards and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of different people and stuff.
So many games.
It is a few games, but yeah, this was one that after our first play, I really liked a lot.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I think it's really unique. It's got kind of the circadians, choose where you're going to put your workers, try to remember where you're going to put your workers after your opponents have 5 minutes of analysis paralysis.
Wow, shots at Pepper.
Me. And then it's like
I only had 3 minutes.
Then try and pivot, when someone takes your spot, and then like you can only lay certain ones, so then you're trying to figure out, well, what do I need, and that whole piece of it. I did end up winning. I'm sure I cheated somehow. I don't know how I won, but I thought it was really unique and cool how it used all those different pieces, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree. It felt like a combination kind of Circadians and Orleans put together for me, and I really love both of those games. And yeah, this one had a few other unique things as well, where you're kind of trying to win majorities to go up those tracks as well, which I did not do very well at all.
And there's objectives, and those aren't really that hard, so that's really helpful.
And I liked the uniqueness of having those objectives, and to complete them, you don't just need the resources or whatever, you also have to take an action in that location or one of those 2 locations. I found that to be really cool, that it kind of has to happen in that spot. That was really cool.
Yeah. It's really unique. I like it a lot.
So yeah.
Little scary.
That one, with maybe some more plays, it could make a running for one of my favorite R games. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I do wonder, though, about the replayability after a long time, though. So.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't 100% sure on, and there's
that's one
that
play,
I really...
though.
really like, and we will just talk about that now, which is also one that isn't
Oh boy.
actually ours.
Yeah.
But this is probably my favorite R game, Raiders of Scythia, which if you've ever played Raiders of the North Sea, has a lot of similar
Basically the
things
same
to
game,
it.
but more.
It's basically the same game, but the changes that it's made and the additions to it, I think, are just absolutely amazing, excellent. When I first thought about playing it, I was like, I don't know if it's just Raiders of the North Sea. I don't know that I really have to, because at the time I actually was like, I don't like the artwork as much, so I don't know why I should even play this. But then I tried it, and it was just amazing. And the artwork's actually now grown on me more and more every time I play it. It's got horses and eagles that make it really cool. They add some additional things that you can do with your different members of your troop that you're leading to battle. And just the way so before, your warriors would go to Valhalla and you kind of just kill them if you got certain things in Raiders of the North Sea. In this one they take wounds, so they slowly die off, and I really like that. The dice are really cool that you use for combat. You do have that in Raiders of the North Sea, but in this one the dice kind of can have wounds and are a little more powerful, and they're dependent on the area you're in. So they're a little bit different for each one.
And it's the same designer and stuff as Raiders of the North Sea, right?
I think so.
So they basically just made a couple of tweaks and slapped a new paint job on it. Because this matches the Hadrian Wall, right? Is there a third one in the set?
Not sure.
Because they always do things in 3.
Yes. Might be the Legacy of You coming out. I think that might be in the same world, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But... yeah, so this one is awesome. I think some of those things are kind of the expansions that are in Raiders of the North Sea. So I don't know if they're all exactly one for one the same thing, or if they've made a few tweaks as well. But yeah, this one's got an interesting worker placement aspect to it as well, where you place one worker and then take a worker from a different spot.
Yeah.
So it just works flawlessly.
Yeah. We've quasi-stolen this from my brother and sister-in-law.
Yes. Yes.
So, but I've only played it once. I would say after one play I was still like, I prefer Raiders of the North Sea. I feel like Raiders of the North Sea is just a little bit simpler.
Simpler.
So I was like, yeah, I don't know. But I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of like Raiders to begin with, either one of them. I mean, it's a good game, but it's not one that I'm like drawn to play frequently. So I'm like, I've already liked Raiders, so.
Yeah. And I just thought of, so the contracts, you usually have to just take one action space for that. And there is that in here, but now, actually, once you've kind of done a battle and killed the people in an area, it flips over a contract in that spot, so you're kind of revealing more of them throughout the game. I find that to be really cool as well.
I can't say I honestly remember that function of the game.
Speaking of Raiders of the North Sea,
Hey, look at that!
We've played this one as well, and we've pretty much covered it. It's
I was hoping
a lot
you
of the
play
same
this
stuff.
one, but I missed out on the play of it.
You missed it.
I was like,
I guess we'll have to play it again.
Me?
We'll probably play both of them, so you can compare them.
And we got SLT, UV, XYZ.
Well, we're working on it.
Did I say L?
Yep, we gotta go back to hell and do those games again.
I'm doing the fortune.
Gotta do lockup.
I'm doing the Wheel of Fortune, numbered RSTLNE.
That's true.
Funny.
Gotta do N as well.
My bad.
But yeah, this one's a solid game as well. I would still highly suggest trying one of these two if you get the chance. If you like worker placement games, I think they have a great system in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a lot of similarities to what I just said on that
Basically, the same game. So, and we do have the expansion for it too, which, don't we?
One of them.
Yeah, and I thought that was really good for this one. I'm not really a huge fan of expansions, but I thought that was pretty good. I don't honestly remember a whole lot about it, but I thought it was good. I know that. Oh boy.
All right. Then we've got Railroad Inc. Challenge.
Tiny.
Which I think is similar to most just Railroad Inc. games if you've ever played any of them. It just kind of adds a few additional ways to score. But yeah, if you haven't played it before, you're pretty much building these routes of road and rail and trying to connect as many of them together as you possibly can. And there's different ways. I don't remember what is it just a intersection?
Yeah.
Whatever the name of it is. There's ways to connect the roads and rails together. But yeah, it's a fun little game. It's a roll and write game. So sometimes you got to make do with what you get, and sometimes you just keep getting the same types over and over. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with all these straight rails or straight roads or curves?
I thought I'd really like this one more, but it just really didn't work for me. Like, I think it's good, but the scoring, kind of the route building isn't exactly there for me, and I've only played it twice, so I can't say with any level of,
You must
accomplishment. I didn't win, no. But I don't know, I feel like there are other games now, like Metro X, not that it's route building, but like there are other games that I like that do similar things better. So I don't know. It's cute.
I like it.
Yeah.
I would like to play it a little bit more, but
it probably would help me if
nice.
I played it more, because there are just a couple of things that aren't quite clear to me, but that's my own fault for not playing it more. So
yeah. I think it's a solid one, and they've got a lot of different mini expansions you can add too. So if you do end up really enjoying it,
get them all.
It's one that you can get a lot of content for.
Do we have a friend that has them all yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
And we got Stan's second R game, Rurik, Dawn of Kiev.
Yeah.
This was one that you'd never played before.
No.
Me and Jesse had only played once before we played this.
Yeah.
And
I think after you played it the first time, you're like, there's kind of a letdown. So then I was like, uh-oh. And then you're like, let's play it again. Because I think you played it, like almost a year ago. So we watched a little tutorial on it. I read some history on what Rurik was. And, which made it 10 times more interesting to me, the more historical aspect of it. But yeah, it's kind of a neat, really the game is built in the action placement, I guess, bidding, whatever you call that, where
placing your little workers.
Yeah, you got little workers with numbers on them, and the highest number, gets the best action. But if you can be bumped down if someone lays higher than you, but you got to take things in order of lowest to highest on that table, and that's all affecting the game board, or I believe the country of Rurik, and your little warriors and kind of the different actions you can do. I thought it was a really simple Euro game. Like, normally to build buildings, you gotta have wood and tools or whatever, but it was like, nope, as long as you're ruling in that area, you can just build a building. I was like, all right, well, that's simple.
Well, it costs you a certain amount of hammers.
Yes.
If you're ruling or not ruling. But
right, yeah. But, it's way simpler than having resources that you got to spend for those things. So, I thought it was a pretty light, not, I guess, medium weight Euro game. That was fairly interesting. So,
I think the placement of the workers would probably make it a medium weight.
Yeah.
I think there is some extra thought that goes into that. Just because even sometimes I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, no, that's not going to work because my 1 is going to trigger before my 2, and now I've got them in the different spots than what they need to be.
Well, I didn't have to think that hard about them because I had
my leader.
My leader let me put them basically in an adjacent one if I didn't own it, so I could. Oh, you mean the little workers? You meant the little workers.
I meant on the board.
Oh, I thought you meant the recruit action.
No.
Okay.
No, I just meant like.
What are we talking about?
The ordering of.
Yeah.
So you're fine not winning one of the better actions, but then that works if you don't mind taking that action early on too. Right. I find that probably is not the most simple, but the way all of those actually work once you do the action is simple. Yeah,
you guys really puzzled that out, and I was just like, I think I need to do this action, and maybe I'll do that one, and how badly do I want to do it? And I was going pretty good, and I thought I was making it, and then the last round came around, and I was like, oh, I was not ready for this. So I was like scrambling to try and get some stuff done. But
yeah, I think I liked the fact that it was 3 players versus 2. I think it worked better as a 3-player. Yeah. I'd be curious to try it at 4. So I did like it quite a bit more at the 3. But after 2, or the first game, I was like, that's a little disappointing. But part of it too was I think this was a game that I had seen and heard about for like a year or two before, and it had been one that was always kind of on my wish list. It's kind of like Heaven and Ale, where I probably had the expectations too high, just because I had been waiting so long. But I think I'm definitely going to give it some more plays, because for some reason too, I remembered it being like more difficult and longer, but it actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it was a little bit long for me for like the deciding factor of it, but it was fine overall. I've come to expect it with you guys. We have to glue some feet back on though, so
That's true. That is true.
they have really great minis, but they didn't stay together.
And we've got Roll for the Galaxy.
This is all you, babe.
But this one had been sitting on the shelf for about a year.
Yeah,
unplayed.
did we win this one?
In the Nacho Average Board Game Tournament?
You won it.
Yes.
I didn't win it.
Yes. I did. But, hadn't gotten to playing it, even though I knew it was supposed to be not like a heavy game, a lighter game. I don't know if it would be light, but somewhere in there, light to medium. But just every time I'd open the box, because we hadn't, for a while, we hadn't even punched all the different pieces in this one. There's a lot of cardboard in this one. And all of them had like this text and all these symbols and symbology on them. And it just looked really intimidating. I'm like, I don't know that I don't think I have the time to learn all of this. But once Jesse and I played this one and got going, a lot of it became very clear very quickly. So it was one that got going kind of once you go through the rules. It says 45 minutes on here. It's probably right. It's a pretty quick game. So.
Okay.
Because you're just racing to a certain amount of points. But yeah, it's a solid game. If you've played, I think Race for the Galaxy, I think is a simple one that maybe doesn't have dice. I don't know much about Race for the Galaxy, but also if you played Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, it's got something similar to that where certain actions are taken each round. So if you have dice assigned to that action, that's when you get to actually use them. And if they're assigned to any other action that isn't selected, then they're just not used that round. They go back to your cup.
The only thing I think of the other thing I think of when I think of this game is those weird neon cups that don't seem to match the vibe of this, but
they're solid dice cups.
Hey, you get your own dice cups. That's real cool.
There you go.
Makes me interested.
But then what do we got here?
I don't know, you tell me.
Another one you have not played.
Another one I haven't played.
And this is Raptor by Bruno Catala. It's a 2-player only game where you're either being the mama raptor and her babies or the scientists trying to study them. I'm sure that's what they're doing. They're not capturing them for bad science. Or the government, I'm sure.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Do you just explain the Jurassic Park?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. But this one is, if you've ever played War, that's kind of a game like War.
Oh, really?
Where you're trying to play, trying to kind of outthink your opponent as to determining, it's been a little while since we've played it, I think the person that lays the higher one either goes first or something, and based on how far the cards are apart, someone gets a certain amount of actions. It's been a while since I've played this one. It is an interesting game. You have places out on the map, and you're kind of trying to eliminate the other players with these cards. And yeah, it's an interesting 2-player only game. It's a nice option if you have other things, because you got the presence on the map, and I just found it really unique as to how you would decide to play your cards, because there's sometimes you would know, okay, this turn they're going to probably play that, so I'm going to play my lowest one in order to make it a really large spread, or else, so I think the person that did the higher one got to take actions, but it was based on the amount of how different the things were. So if you laid a 6, they laid a 7, they wouldn't get as a powerful of one, and you'd get the action of your card or something along those lines.
Okay.
So yeah, it's interesting. Look into it a little bit more if you want to know more about it. But
our 85th dinosaur themed game.
Yes, I think we may have some videos on that from our Dino Mania. So
okay.
Maybe Jesse will link that below. Oh boy.
Rolling Realms.
What do you know about Rolling Realms, Maggie?
Oh, I've only played it once.
only played it once. How did I not get you to play this one?
I know. I was like, oh, I can play it again when it comes up, and then you guys played it, and I was like, all right.
Yes. This one is another roll and write game.
Yep.
And you have different realms, 3 different realms that you're playing with.
Highly customizable.
Yes. So, yeah, there's different promos going to be added constantly. There's already been, I think, 6 or so, with most of them being non-Stonemaier games.
Mm-hmm.
The original kind of in this box were the Stonemaier games as of that point. But now they've had like Terra Mystica, Honey Buzz,
Feast
for Odin. I think one of Terra Mystica. There's one other one, I think, or 1 or 2 others. And it looks like there's a bunch of them to come.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what you're doing is you're rolling 2 dice, and you take those results in order to take an action on one of the 3 cards, and then use the other die that you haven't used to do an action on one of the other 2 cards you didn't just write on. And you just try to get stars throughout the game. Each one, you can have a maximum of 6 stars, and they score in various ways that try to give a similar feel to kind of the base game that they're trying to pay homage to. So, like in Honey Buzz, you're trying to make
I see. Okay.
kind of patterns of the honeycombs.
I thought you meant the base of Rolling Realms. I was like,
no.
what?
And then,
feel
like,
you.
between 2 castles, you kind of, or between 2 cities, you kind of have to look at the stars you earned from the 2 other realms.
Yeah.
So it's kind of taking things, or trying to implement the key element of the game that they're based on. Each realm is based on.
Yeah.
So, and then you can kind of manipulate them with these different resources that you can gain throughout the game. So sometimes you can play 2 in the same realm in the same round, and sometimes you can play a die to all 3 of them. It's just a fun, unique game, and I'm interested to see kind of what promos they'll have in the future.
Mm-hmm.
See what other games can get in there.
Well,
I'd really like a Garfield game in there. We'll see if that ever gets added.
Well, that's a great idea because he can just keep adding it.
It is a great idea. It's a money-making idea. 'Cause it wasn't...
How much are the promo bags?
I don't know, a few bucks.
Yeah, money making.
Money-making. I think it's sold pretty well.
I certainly hope it makes him a profit.
Yes, and then we've got another Rajas of the Ganges.
And you got this
Dice
because
Charmers.
You got this from me because I was like, oh, I played Rajas and I was like, this is great, I love it. And you're like, oh, well, I'll just get you the roll and write. And so I finally played it. That's so sad. It takes me forever sometimes to get to some of these games. But finally played it, and boy, did I really like it. I might have liked it even more than the actual Rajas. Because the chaining of it is so satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the same scoring track, and you don't have to worry about giving up money. You only get it. So it's like a simplified kind of pared down version of Rajas with the same or similar elements. And I really liked it. I had a lot of fun playing it after one playthrough. So I'm glad you got it for me.
Yeah, I think I still prefer the base game.
You would.
But I like worker placement, and I like rolling even more dice. But I think this one is a solid implementation of Rajas of the Ganges. I think it gives you a good feel to it, and I do like the chaining bonuses as well. It's similar to a Ganshon Clever or Hadrian's Wall type thing where you're able to kind of get a bonus and then do something else and then do something else. You can have those really fun things happen. So I think it's another solid one, and if you think the base game's too big for you, you can definitely check this out and get a pretty similar feel.
Yeah, I feel like that's how most of our games go. Zach likes the base version, then there's maybe a similar version that's not quite as intense, and I'm like, that's the one I like. I feel like that's happened a couple of times now, but I'm a sucker for roll and writes or bourbon writes or whatever too.
Well, now we got a new game that we can play 16 times.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Can't wait to wear it out. Zach's like, as soon as Lantern's dice runs out of paper sheets, we're done. I'm not ordering replacements.
That's probably true.
Was this our last one?
That's our last R
I feel like
game.
that was strategic.
Huh? Well, I didn't want it to be Raptor because I didn't remember all of it about that. And then there was a couple rolling rights.
Suspicious.
So I thought we'd end with a big one.
We'd end with Root.
Probably the most... I think it's the highest rated on Board Game Geek. But I think Raiders of the North Sea is up there. I'm can't remember if anything else was. But yeah, so this one is one that I finally got you to play again. I've been begging everyone to play it. This was one of our last R games played.
Yeah.
It was hard to get it to the table. And I was disappointed because I really, really enjoyed the play. I have the Root app, and I was like, maybe that would just be enough. And then, we've got...
Yeah.
In that, I don't have the expansions. I think they did release the first set of expansions for that one. I can't remember what I don't have it currently, but... I don't have the expansion piece.
Which is
currently.
shocking, because he came home with like 85 expansions one time. And I was like, what
85
is all of
expansions,
this?
2 expansions to Root, because I was hoping we'd get to play it a lot, and we have not gotten
We put it on our 10x10 last year, but it just did not.
That's why I had to get the app to play it 10 times by myself.
But, yeah, I feel like I do need to play it 10 times to understand it better, but that's a huge ask, because
Worst part is we probably need 3 players minimum to play it multiple times, and then you're kind of having to learn every new faction. But I think if you know the core of the game, the new factions probably aren't going to be as intimidating.
I don't think it's that tricky of an idea. It's just adjusting to...
And it's not overly long either.
Isn't it?
It wasn't that long.
Ugh, I felt like I was just sitting there, like, waiting for somebody else to take a move, scrolling through my phone, like, have they gone yet?
Well, I think Pepper was taking his time. He wanted the moles to win.
He did.
They did not, though.
He didn't quite make it.
He wasn't quite able to do it.
Yeah, he was going after me when he should have been going after you.
Sneaky. Corporate conspiracy.
Yeah.
But, no, it's kind of a, I don't know, area control race game where you're trying to get to 30 points.
Yeah.
And you've all got very different factions, variable player powers, so you all kind of have something special that you do. You started out with a bunch of board presence with the
I played the marquee.
And he had the balls, which I couldn't tell exactly what he was always doing,
but
he was
crazy.
He was
I
getting
was
some
like,
fun stuff and adding a bunch of moles at once.
Somehow he just put 7 moles on this piece of the map, so that's cool. And I didn't realize you could like get rid of his mole tunnel, because then I would have. So he couldn't put his stupid moles on my map.
Right.
Stupid moles.
That's why you gotta give it a few more plays, Mike. And then you kind of learn some of the finer details. Finer details.
It's so high strategy for me that I have very little fun in it. It's really frustrating to like spend turns and turns and turns working towards something, and then like someone has some ability that you kind of sort of knew about but don't really understand, and then they swoop in, and it's like I just spent like 8 rounds trying to do something, and now it's gone.
Yeah. I really loved my the play.
Yeah, but you
on
played
the table.
those stupid purple birds like twice now, and I'm on.
I only played it one time.
I'm on to you.
I'm pretty sure someone else played, because I played. I'm pretty sure we only played this game one other time, and in that case, I was the Vagabond.
We've definitely played it twice, because I played the blue birds twice.
Yeah, but I do not remember playing the Corporate Conspiracy
I remember you
before.
playing the Vagabond. I feel like you may have played the green mice, so maybe somebody else played the purple bird. But
I think the purple birds were played, but I don't think it was me.
Because there's like me, you, Zach.
Because I wanted to play something different.
Yeah.
I did, maybe. It's been a while since we played it on the table.
Yeah.
And it made me think, oh, this is one of my top R games. Of course, I was hoping you were having a great time. I kept looking over at you, and you were not looking like you were having a great time.
Yes.
But
so much. It's so much to think about for me. Because I got dominant cards, so then it shifts your whole strategy from like the point aspect to, okay, you can do these 3 things. I was like, well, I'm already situated in 3 of them, so I'm like, all I have to do is rule. And I was like, okay, but then I was like, oh, you have to be at 10 points. Then I was like, okay, I'll get to 10 points. Then by the time I got to 10 points, everyone was in my stupid foxholes, and I had no ability to take you guys out because 17 moles got added to my foxhole, and I was like, this is disappointing. And I have all these stupid cats all over the place, and they're just hanging out in areas I don't even need them to be.
You gave that a good go. I don't.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't know that. I think that's a
I
hard
tried
way
really
to win.
hard.
We haven't played it enough to really know, but I think
Yeah.
that's going to be a hard way to win.
Well, I started with the dominant card, so I was like, seems dumb not to do it.
I think it's a very difficult way to win because otherwise they wouldn't. Once they get discarded, they're available for anyone to take. If they were that easy to win with, they would not be that easy to grab.
It does put them on notice for what you're doing,
Right.
though, so.
Because then the worst part is then you're stuck doing that way, and once you
I had to try it though, because I was like, it's too late. I don't have abilities.
if you got
to do
killed
anymore.
if you got killed doing
Yeah.
in one of those spots, you're gonna be in a lot of
Well, this
trouble.
isn't a root review. We better wrap this up.
But yes, root we're keeping for now. I guess we haven't talked about if we're
I don't
getting
want
rid
you
of
to
it.
get rid of it because you love it so much. It's just hard to balance,
know.
like you liking it with like not really wanting to play it.
Right. Let's see. Are any of these? We can get rid of Red Rising.
Excuse you?
I don't know that I want to get rid of any of these. They're pretty solid. We got Rajas, Raiders.
3 of them aren't.
Yeah,
Well,
some
2 of them
them
aren't
even
ours.
ours. One's a party game that
Yeah.
don't really. I think all of them are pretty average to solid for me. None of them are really lacking
Yeah.
too much.
There's one, but that's
What, Root?
it.
Raptor's Jesse's too. Otherwise,
Yeah.
that one is probably one of the lower ones for me.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But those are our games. So
Yeah.
if you've stuck around this long, definitely like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Let your friends know about all these R games
Yeah.
that they've never maybe heard of.
Let Zach know if you want to play Root with him because
Yes.
he currently needs friends
Wow. Yes, I do.
who play Root.
But otherwise, we hope to see you on some of our other alphabet videos. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.